Well, welcome back, Brooke, to our little discussion episode. And here I was thinking that we can talk about our readers and our audience who have responded to my story about basically some events or some kind of like difficult emotions that have been shaped and they felt better after reading and what how books have like been such an emotional chord for them. And I had a few of your readers reach out to me, and one of them actually named that your book was one of those books that really helps them come to terms with their
That
identity, which is so,
oh,
so sweet.
is absolutely amazing. That's
Yeah.
really nice to hear. Yeah.
Yeah. And there was another one who is an author, and she said that this is a really lovely idea. So she also shared her own excerpts. So I'll start with the first
Okay.
one.
Mhm.
Right. As a sensitive person, you're often made to feel as though your feelings are too much, that you're too much. And last year I read a Jennifer L. Armentrout book, which I cannot remember which one, but empathy was basically considered a superpower and a strength. That reframing helped soften the critical voice in my head to allow space for some enthusiastic acceptance and to validate my feelings. Yeah. And I think that your book also goes through that kind of like empathetic route because we meet Nathaniel who shares empathy with Augustus, who
Mhm.
clearly is needs love.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
He needs a
Yeah.
space. So how, as your view as an author, how do you
Mhm.
feel that responsibility lands on authors who write these themes about loneliness, and how do you kind of like reflect that into a more powerful stance?
Yeah. I never wanted to frame loneliness or being alone as a negative thing because I know that some people require that at certain times in their
Mm,
life, and I've definitely been the type of person who when I'm struggling, I want to be alone. And I'd like to point out that alone and loneliness is a bit different.
yeah.
But loneliness itself, it can be quite dehumanizing. And when I was writing this book, and Augustus does feel lonely at times, he's there's times where he's physically being left alone, but there's
Mm,
also times where he is trying to help people and he feels alone. Sorry, he feels lonely. And I wanted that journey of him going from that scared little boy left alone in a closet
mm,
to this adult who is able to kind of be alone without those negative thoughts. So I wanted to show like the devil's thoughts fading gradually and Nathaniel becoming more present, and Nathaniel's voice merging with
yeah.
Augustus's real voice. And so I didn't want to, I didn't want to make it negative, but also show that it does have negative
Yeah.
side effects if it goes on for too long and you don't have that support system because
Mm.
loneliness does affect a lot of us and it it is dark to sit there for a while. So want to show that there is a light at the end of the tunnel kind of thing to be cliche,
Yeah.
but
No,
yeah,
for sure. And have you ever watched this TV show called Fleabag?
I haven't,
Oh,
no.
it's a good one to watch. But there's this
Yeah,
part,
I just
where the main character always speaks to us as the audience through the lens, like directly looks at us. And in the second season, she meets the guy who basically like he would call her out like when she would do like that little smirk to the camera to us, he would be like, "Who are you looking at?" And he was the one breaking down the voice that was her talking to us, and he was helping her feel more present. And I feel like Nathaniel was like a similar thing where
yeah.
the voices in Augustus' head was quieting down and Nathaniel's was becoming
Mm.
louder and centering him back to reality. But I
Yeah.
completely agree on the loneliness point because I'll jump onto a different one,
Mhm.
not in the serial order, because that one, oh yeah. Something I don't think people talk about enough is how lonely normal life can feel. Despite being
Mhm.
surrounded by people that I know care for me, I still feel lonely. Don't worry, I am going to therapy for it. Just add a disclaimer, thank God.
Good job. Good
Yeah.
job.
I feel it most at night or when I'm doing something normal, and what helps me are the small things like background noise, podcasts, even like just re reading familiar books that feel homely or nostalgic. And it feels like returning to a place where people find belonging, even if it takes time, which kind of
Sounds
goes
really
back to
yeah.
your sentiment. And I completely
Mm,
agree. Like being alone and being lonely are two different concepts. And
mm,
sometimes you can feel lonely, so lonely, even though you're surrounded by people that care for you. Where do you think
definitely.
that sort of connotation comes from? Like where you just feel like you can't even ask for help or you don't know what to
Mm.
ask for.
I feel like it comes from two things. I think if I can relate it back to
Mm.
personal experience and what people told me, but like this fear of being a burden is one. Like we
Yeah,
don't want to reach out.
that's a
Like
good
we
one.
kind of don't want to put ourselves out there. We'd rather just not bother anyone. If everyone else seems like they're fine and living their life, we don't want to, interfere. And I think another thing is this fear of not being understood or being understood too much. And I
Mm.
I
Opening
think
yourself up too much. Yeah,
yeah, and I
becoming
feel
vulnerable.
like yeah, you're very vulnerable when you do open up, and if you're not understood, um, like if people don't understand what you're saying or how you're feeling and stuff, it can be very just like, oh, I shouldn't have said anything, or you know,
Yeah, that
yeah,
kind
a
of,
bit,
yeah, regret that comes in
yeah,
later. Yeah.
yeah, and I feel like people would rather just not risk that. Like it's more comforting to just stay where you are,
Mm.
um, and not to like drag it back to my book, but like I
No,
tried to explore
please
that
do.
uh with Augustus, like his main thing towards the end is wanting to be understood, and it's kind of why he needs Nathaniel to be honest with him. Like, do you believe I have the devil inside me? Like he wants,
Mm.
and he gets upset when Nathaniel says no because he's like, no, I need you to understand me, and it's why he pushes people away so much because he's afraid that if he is honest and he does say what's really going on, that he's not going to be understood, not going to be believed, not going to
Yeah.
be all these different things. And I think a lot of us go through that uh as well. We don't want to be misunderstood or even understood too much, where it's like, now, you know, your whole heart is in someone else's hands, and that's very
Yeah,
vulnerable.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a really, really like good take because completely understand and relate to that. Sometimes I also
Mm.
find that like especially with loneliness, like I relate to that so hard where I don't go to bed without my laptop playing something. It's always
Yeah.
playing something. Sometimes I make the joke like I don't know when my future boyfriend's gonna sleep because it's me, my dog, and my laptop. Where are you
Yeah.
putting it? But
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's because I don't like to have too much time to think at night specifically, and
Yeah.
reflect too much because the regret and the bad thoughts start to seep in then. But
Yeah.
um, oh God, what were we saying? I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, like there's always that sound that like to keep it like I'm the
Yeah.
same. Like I'll play like I'll sometimes I'll have music, but if I don't have music, yeah, that's keeping me up too much. I always have like the aircon going. Like even when I'm
Mm.
like not cold, like I'll still have it on just for that sound. It's very like, and my cat will sometimes purr, so there's like the purring sound as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, there's always that sound going, which kind of gives the illusion, like,
Exactly. It
yeah, that
kind
like
of,
you're
but
not, yeah.
it's important to find that balance with how much you want to share with people, how much you don't, because I sometimes
Mm,
think that when I'm in a state of dwelling over my own issues or my own like past or whatever it may be that may be causing me a bit of trauma that I'm still healing from by, it's a lifelong process. Um,
yeah.
I find that sometimes I don't want to get out of it. And I wonder where
Mm.
that comes from because it's one of those things because like this is what I'm familiar with. This is what I know. So I
Yeah.
don't want it gone entirely because I don't know what I would look like or what kind of person I would be outside of it.
Yeah, no, that's so true. A lot of, especially with creative people as
Yeah.
well, like a lot of the things we make or do are from those experiences and those feelings.
Yeah,
And some people don't want to get out of that because then it's like, who am I without it?
exactly.
And yeah, I'll admit I've also had those thoughts because unfortunately my best work has been when I've been at the worst part of my life. So it's like if I'm happy, if I get therapy, like am I still gonna be able to write books? Am I still gonna be able to like make these things? So no, it in all seriousness, no, like I get it.
Yeah,
Like it's safe to be in something familiar. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of us are just scared to kind of face something new or
Yeah.
a different part of ourselves that we haven't been able to access before.
Yeah. And I think that because you're an author as well, like part of writing does become part of like sharing your own story, helping your own journey, growing from that as well. So if therapy doesn't work, I think writing in a way is a form of it as well. And it's
Cheaper,
hard.
it's cheaper.
Yeah.
Just write. It's fine.
Exactly. And honestly,
Yeah.
therapy, like, because I come from a psychology background as well, like,
Yeah.
I know what clinical psychology looks like. I know what psychiatrist looks like. I know what counseling looks like. And it doesn't
Mm.
work with me because it's one of those things where I know when you ask a question, what kind of question you're
Yeah.
asking, what kind of information you want, how you can help, and what kind of help am I looking for. So you have to find different avenues that suit you. But not saying that like you have to give therapy a go at first, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
That will help you
Yeah.
navigate what you should and what you shouldn't do because it does miracles for those that it works with.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then going to the concept of kind of like not wanting to change sometimes or not wanting to see what you would look like after. There was a message I got which was, yeah, I used to think grief was something you process and then eventually just get over. But I felt like, oh, sorry. I felt like mine never left. I keep thinking I should be further along by now that I'm somehow doing like the concept of grief wrong. A lot of dark
Mm.
romance books showed grief as something that sits with you, that sort of fits into your personality for the rest of your life. And I don't know how to feel about that, to be honest. I don't want grief to change me. And this is mostly in the aspect of like she went through a really bad breakup a few years ago and she felt like losing that person felt like it was like getting like grieving over death almost because you could no longer talk to them, no longer be in touch with them, no longer feel joy for them or sadness for them, those kind of things.
Yeah.
So that's where her
Yeah.
grief came from. But yeah, that's a tough one.
That is a tough one.
Yeah, how do you
And
feel books
yeah.
kind of like empower you and what do you feel about like change that happens with how grief seeps into you?
Yeah. I feel like books are gonna be really they're gonna be people will lean on books a lot that explore these
Yeah.
things because a lot of people want to feel seen. And if someone's going through a similar thing that grieving someone who's not dead, which I feel like sometimes is worse somehow because
Mm,
it's like, you know, they're there still, like there were opportunities, um, things that could be different. Um, I feel like whenever I'm grieving like a friendship that meant a lot to me or things like that, it feels like it goes away, but then like it comes back in certain times. And I feel like it's one of those things that, you know, everyone talks about the journey and like you'll eventually, you know, get over it. But I don't think you ever get over it. You just learn to live with it and you learn to
mm,
accept it. And I feel like books explore that in its own way.
mm,
Uh, um, you know, I've read books where, you know, characters have lost their whole family and that shapes who they are. Um, and even when they, you know, do have their found family, you know, they're still that great. Like it doesn't just fix you. Like there's no you're fixed now.
yeah.
And even with Augustus, like I never wrote Nathaniel to be some like knight in shining armor hero who comes and fixes him. And I think even Augustus calls him out on that, being like, you know, you're not going to fix me and things
Yeah,
like
yeah, he
that.
does, yeah.
And I wanted it to be a story of just like understanding those emotions and feelings. And I feel like a
Yeah.
lot of us um, we might know what we're feeling, but we might not understand it entirely.
Mm.
I feel like I've lost track of what you
No, no,
originally
no, that's
asked
so
as
fair.
well.
It
I'm
was
so
about
sorry.
like no, no, no. It's a good discussion because it's so important that like grief just grief can manifest in so many different ways, but like you said, like it's that willingness to accept who you become out of it because it's just
Mm,
scary, right? Like it's a change and you don't know how you feel about what you're going to become, what kind of personality is going to come out. But
mm,
you have to trust the process because if you keep dwelling into it,
mm,
and not go anywhere, then that growth is not happening. And that
mm,
the kind of letting go of one identity to help reform a new one is such an important change. And I
mm,
feel like that's something that where we see Augustus like the story leave off in the end. Like that's one of those lingering questions that stays with the reader of what does Augustus's life look like? What does his personality look like? Is he going to be the same boy that we like know who's grown up and now we love, or is he going to have some massive changes because of the different
Yeah.
shifts he's experienced?
Yeah, exactly. Like what the Augustus throughout the story isn't going to be the same. Well, you'd hope it's not going to be the same
Yeah,
after what he's experienced. And I feel like a lot of us as well, um, when we go through something, either like grief, doesn't have to be grief, it can be anything, but when
yeah,
we go through something that can affect the way we see the world or see ourselves, we're going to be different, and it's kind of scary. It's unknown. It's something we've never seen before in ourselves. It's something others haven't seen in us. It can affect relationships with other people. It can affect so much. So of course, it's going to be scary. But I think, acknowledging it is
mm,
important, and knowing why it's happening, knowing how it's happening, and in
yeah,
terms of like what's different, what's going on. I think that's really important, and I think uh, it's okay to be scared of it. And even though it's come from a negative thing, we can try and turn it into a positive. What are we learning from it? You know, are we doing things differently for a good reason? Are we doing it
mm,
for a bad reason? Things like that, and that's where therapy and stuff can really
yeah,
help you
yeah,
navigate those feelings. It's not to fix you; it's just to understand you.
yeah. I'm definitely going to be adding like links and stuff. So if yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
That sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a really good like really what's it called? Uh, intellectual take on it.
Intellectual. Thank you
Yeah, it's just so
so much.
smart.
Yeah.
But
Love
it's
being
clearly
smart.
coming from personal experiences as well. And it's so true because it's one of those things that like, yeah, again, like adapting to that change, becoming comfortable with it, that's part of the journey
Mm,
at the same time.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
then going to, I guess, the themes of identity crisis that poor little babies go through. Um, this one was really cute. This girl says the way that Brooke portrayed asexuality in her book made me feel so seen. She depicted the way it affects friendships and isolates us in such a raw way. It made me feel less alone in those feelings. So
That
sweet.
means a lot because that was one of the reasons I kind of wrote that part of
Yeah.
Augustus. Because I can relate to that, going through
Yeah.
that in high school, and how it, people think, oh, how can that affect, friendships and stuff?
It
But it
does.
does, because, everyone else around you is getting into relationships, or not even that, but they're just starting to like people, and things
Yeah.
like that. And you feel kind of weird. Like I remember when my friends started, going out with other people, and, you know, having crushes and everything. I remember thinking like, okay, when's it gonna happen to me? And I would
Yeah.
literally like just pick a random person in class and be like, yeah, that's who I have a crush on. I did not have a crush on them. I just needed something to say to
Yeah.
my friends when they asked me. And
Yeah.
and it's just, and then when your friends, when their partners become their whole world, you know,
That's a
I
hard
didn't
one to
understand
digest
it.
for when
Yeah,
you
I
grow
didn't
up with that. Yeah.
understand it. Yeah, so Augustus experiencing that with Ava based
Yeah.
on a true story. I was like, that
Cute.
that whole, like, obviously names were changed and
Yeah.
circumstances were changed and everything, obviously.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, it was based on actual feelings I had. And I'll admit, like, Augustus doesn't behave the right way. I didn't behave the right
Mm.
way in some circumstances, but it is confusing when you don't share those exact feelings, and you
Yeah.
don't want those things. It's hard to navigate. And I feel like growing up, I didn't really know what that was. Like when
Mm.
Augustus didn't know what it was either, that was like me too. Asexual
Yeah.
what? And I didn't I didn't there weren't many characters that I could turn to and be like,
Yeah.
oh, they taught me what that was, or whatever. So I really had hoped, yeah, that this helped someone navigate that, and feel seen,
Mm.
because it is difficult when you're first, you're a teenager and everything's going on. And yeah, like I understand you completely.
Yeah.
That, yeah, it was important to me to have that, even if it was like, a little bit cheesy at times. I was like, no, like this is based on like real experiences that some of us go through, and Yeah, I'm glad it resonated with someone for sure.
Me too, and I'll share like a little story of mine because
Hmm.
when I was in year 12 and one of my best friends, still my best friend, at this point she might as well be my sister because her family, my
Oh,
family are really good friends now.
that's nice.
Um, she had started dating someone in maybe year 12, I
Hmm.
believe. And I remember like they only recently what's it called? They're only recently and like not together anymore, like mutual
Hmm.
decision, all that. But they were
Yeah.
together for quite a while, like maybe 6 or 7 years.
Wow.
But I remember asking her back in year 12, and I said, why are you so sure that he's the one? Or something like that.
Mm.
Because I was like, how are you able to? So mine was the opposite. I had way too many crushes, but it was all fictional, never a real person. Always had
That's
a
so
crush on a
real.
fictional person, and I was just like measuring up the people I was meeting to those fictional standards, which is another issue. Like, come on, man.
Yeah,
I
I'm
wanted
never
Will
gonna meet it.
Herondale.
Yeah,
Literally all I wanted was Will Herondale. Um,
that's so valid.
so fair. And I remember asking her that, and then she said that
Mhm.
like I literally feel no attraction to anyone else other than him, even fictional people.
Wow.
Like I can objectively tell that they have attractive features or their personality is great, but I've no attractive like I feel no attraction towards them. And I was like, wow, that could not be
Wow.
me. I was like, what do you mean? Until of course
Yeah,
I grew up and I realized what love looks like and what those things manifest as. But that's an
yeah,
actual like real big like thought process I had when I was in high school, and it was so
yeah,
strange to me.
yeah,
And the second was probably like recently. Like I don't really put myself out there as a book hermit who loves just reading in my
mhm,
own space. I don't
yeah,
really go on too much dates or anything unless once in a while I get asked out in the open. But the
yeah,
concept of dating apps and stuff is really just not for me. I'm not the audience for
yeah.
that.
I'm scared. Nope.
Yeah. And I remember like talking to my friend, also a really good friend, and I said that like for the last 2 years or so, I was like, nope, don't have a crush. No, I'm happy. No, there's nothing lacking in my life. And she couldn't comprehend it. She was like,
Mm.
maybe you're asexual. And I was like, don't categorize me into a box just because you can't accept my what my lifestyle is like. And that's one of those things like
Yeah,
we so quickly want to categorize people into boxes. But
mm.
sometimes it's just not that. Like
Yeah,
you're just satisfied with where you're at. My cup is full. I don't feel the need to add anyone else to it unless they're bringing something to my life and I can bring something to theirs. Like, I don't want to be
yeah,
dragged down with someone else right now. I'm happy. No one
yeah,
tell me off on my
exactly.
fictional men.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, it's really interesting. Um,
Mm.
and here's the final one. And this one also
Mhm,
goes back to the concept of identity. And this was
mhm,
really cool because I know every girl has struggled with this. So, there's always been this pressure that I need to become something before I'm allowed to feel worthy of anything. So, whether that be I have to become more successful, more confident, or more fit and more put together before I can do anything about it. They didn't finish the sentence there. Um,
mhm,
it's honestly very exhausting, no matter how much I read about powerful FMCs or how much
mm,
people tell me that I'm perfect the way I am. I still feel so worthless. I have slowly started to understand that sitting with the idea that worthiness isn't uncommon and everyone feels variations of it has helped, but I'm still learning that, and that's still hard. So
mhm.
that's such a like common one.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, definitely relatable. Like,
exactly.
yeah,
Like, oh my
everyone's
God,
gone
I
through
need
that
to
at
let this
some
girl
point.
know that that is so, so common.
So, so common, so
Exactly.
normal to
Yeah.
feel like that. I feel like we all have that at some stage. You know, it's a lot of us think we have to earn, something. I remember being like, you know, I don't deserve to be told I'm, a good student until I get those high grades. And
Yes.
I remember waiting for my ATAR and being like, oh my God, like what's my final score? Like, am I gonna be like, was it all
Am I
worth
dumb or
it?
am I smart?
Yeah, and even with this author thing, like I feel like a lot of people ask you like how many sales do you have and like how many it's like you always
Who
have
the
to
hell
like
is asking that?
earn
Tell them get out
people
of here.
people. Yeah,
Ew,
I
I
always
hate
feel
that.
like you have to
I really hate
reach
that.
a certain level to
Yeah.
be a real author and stuff. And so yeah, even now it's still like you feel like you have to earn something or you're not worthy of it. And it's normal. I feel like we all go through it, but it's not true. It's we are
Mm.
fine to be here. We have every right to be here. We have every right to do what we're doing.
Yes.
You know, you you're your own worst enemy. I always try and remind myself.
Uh,
You know,
I feel like you've written about a character who kind of displays that very well.
exactly. Exactly. Augustus is literally like there's so many times where his story could have gone another way and he decided to,
He's
you
like,
know,
nope, let me make it
yeah.
tragic.
He's like, "Oh, suffering? That sounds like where I
Yeah,
want to be right now." And
exactly.
I feel like we all do that sometimes. We self-sabotage.
Mm,
And we don't need to. We're fine. We're
yeah.
fine. Wherever you are at, it's fine. I often, I haven't gotten a full-time job in my career that I graduated from yet. And I feel like, oh my God, like what am I doing wrong to not deserve a spot there? And so even now, I think about those things. If you're a young person, you'll probably think, great, I'm gonna be thinking about this forever. But there's
Yeah.
things you can try and then tell yourself. And I hope everyone who goes through that has a support system around them and people that
Mm,
will try and shake them, have their own Nathaniel who will
yes.
grab you and be like, "Stop it,
God, listen to me. Yeah.
listen to me, you're
I
fine."
so
Yeah.
feel you because I think back when you're in high school, when everything is spoon-fed, your bubble isn't that big,
Mm.
and oh God, that was a luxury now that I think about it. That
Yeah.
Delulu was truly the Salulu.
Yes,
I
I love that.
remember being like, oh, okay, oh my God, I have to go, after I'm just gonna go to uni next, and then I'll get a job next, and then I'll get married next,
Yeah.
and I'll have kids. Bro, doing that is so hard.
Yeah, yeah. It's not easy. It's not like the movies.
Exactly. It wasn't like it was
Yeah.
like in my head, I'm like, yeah, obviously all of these are just like things like, oh my God, how am I gonna escape the circle? Now I'm like, how can I keep up with this? Like, what the
Yeah.
hell? I
So
remember
funny.
like when I went to uni, I was like, Jesus Christ, this is freaking hard. This is so hard. I was struggling the first 2, 3 years. Met my
Mm,
first boyfriend in university, and I was like, oh, okay, now I'm on course. Broke up with my boyfriend. Oh well, now I'm off course. Got my
yeah.
first job when I was 19 in my industry. Got rejected from my dream job. Got like went through all the ups and downs, and then I would look at people
Mm,
whose life goes like just nice, dilly-dally, straightforward, and I'm like, why the hell is that not me? Did not put in enough
yeah.
effort. And then I try to think about, and this is where the religious part comes in, when I'm like, you know what? The people who suffered the most in the Bible were Jesus' disciples.
We got,
You
it's
know what
for
I
a
mean?
reason. We're God's
Yeah.
strongest,
Maybe
Yeah.
I'm just more light. That's why. And you have to tell yourself all these delusional things to convince yourself because it's true. But now I'm
Yeah.
24 and I was like, wow, in high school I really thought I'd be married by 23 and have my first kid at 25.
No, literally.
What the
Yeah. I
hell?
remember we always used to talk about it. Yeah, like by 25, we have two kids already. We're fine. Like, and I'm
Bruh.
thinking like I'm literally 25 now. I'm like,
Yeah. What the
what?
fuck?
I'm like, nah, she was delusional back then. She
Exactly. That's
yeah.
what I literally think about it. And I was like, 25 used to be like old. I thought people
Yeah.
retire at 35 and working after that is a choice. Dead ass, I thought 35 is so old. Like so
Yeah,
old.
I
And
know.
now I'm
I
at
know.
24. I'll be 25 this year and I'm just like, wow, what
Yeah.
what is
No, it
happening?
was scary turning 20. I turned 25 this year and I was like,
Yeah.
okay, so I was supposed to have my own house. I was supposed to be married, supposed to be having a kid, and I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's not
Yeah,
happening.
I was supposed to have
Um,
like everything. What the hell? This is, I
yeah,
think
like what
maybe
is this?
I'm gonna have to push that to 35. So my
Yeah,
retirement
35.
can't happen.
35 is the new 25K. Got 10
Agreed.
years. It's all right.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And the pressure once you turn 30 goes down because now you're lost cause for
Yeah.
for the
Yeah,
man.
I'll be 30 and be like, it's fine. It's
Yeah,
fine.
it's all
Yeah.
restarting. That's the
Yeah.
mindset. But I
It's
totally relate
yeah.
to what that girl shared because I was like,
Yes.
oh my God, the number of times I feel like, oh, I can't get a boyfriend if I'm not fit enough. And I was like, that's so stupid. Have you seen them with like a beer belly? As if they've
Yeah.
had it once. As if they've had a single thought about that. Not at all.
Yeah.
But we put this
Yeah.
pressure on ourselves because that's what's
We
expected
do.
from us. Same with our
Mm,
profession. If we don't get it right away, then it's like, no, there's something lacking in me. I'm like, no, babe, there was
mm.
nothing lacking in you. It's just not
Yeah.
what they want right now. You can't change that.
Yeah.
No matter how much you change
Yeah.
yourself, it's not going to work because it was not meant to be for now. And that's
Yes.
okay. And that's
Yeah.
why now you're an author. You had all this time. There you go.
Exactly. It was meant to be. It was meant to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
Wouldn't
yeah.
have been done if I had all those other things. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Trust me, I work full time and study full time and it's a misery. I would love to
Girl,
be the
I don't
type
know
of
how
person.
you do it. You're so strong.
Oh my
I
God.
would die.
you're so kind to say that. But to be honest, this is my like escape. Like this is what I love to do. And I feel
Oh,
like it's so important for everyone to know that whatever you do, like whatever your profession is, that doesn't have to be your dream.
yeah, that is so true.
It
Yeah.
can just be something that suffices you to survive in this economy. Like,
Yeah.
it's okay. You can have other dreams and aspirations, and your satisfaction does not need to come just from your job. So
Yeah,
important.
yeah. It's such a like it's an important part of your life, but it's not like the be all and end all. Like,
Exactly.
it's fine. If you're working a job that you're like it's paying the bills, it's doing what
Yeah.
it needs to do, dream of something else or keep going after your dream
Yeah.
on the side, it's fine. Like,
Yep.
and you don't have to have it by a certain time. Like, don't put a timeline on your dream. Like, if you're still breathing, you could still get that dream. It's fine.
Love
Take a breath.
that. If you're still breathing, you can still do it.
Yes, exactly.
That is
Exactly.
such a positive note to end on. And I really appreciate and love the discussions. And thank you so
Me
much for
too.
being vulnerable and sharing your experiences because I'm sure these readers, as well as other readers, as well as myself, will really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me. It was
Of
so fun. I
course.
was so nervous about it, but it ended up being so fun.
It was so
Um,
fun.
and I'm so honored, so honored to talk with
Oh my
you
God,
and
stop.
talk
It's
about
my
everything.
honor.
It's
Yes.
amazing. So yeah, thank you so much.
Best of luck with all your future projects. And I can't wait
Thank
to see you
you.
at book conventions and stuff like that soon.
Oh my God, that's so scary.
No, please do it. I'll be your PA
Love.
today. Please
Yeah,
find me.
come just help me
Oh
out.
my God,
Yeah.
I so would. Like, if you do one in Sydney, tell me. I'll fly in. We can make it happen.
Oh my God. And it could be after our Merlin date. Our Merlin Supernatural,
Shadow Hunter. Oh my
Shadowhunters,
God, that's like my entire
everything.
personality. You've like locked it down. Like, that's it. That's all I know. That's
Yeah.
all I care about.
Oh
Oh
my
my
God,
God,
my book just attacked.
because Augustus wants to be part of it.
That was crazy. Oh my God, is she okay? 1 second. Where
Is
did she
she okay?
go?
Is that the
Oh,
Raven Boys, as in from the
the
Maggie,
Raven
whatever?
Cycle.
Yes, by Maggie or something?
Yes. Oh my God, my favorite like series ever. My Ronan Lynch, my favorite
Yes.
character.
So I never
That's my
finished
boy.
it, but it's because I couldn't find the books. But oh, I see one dark window
Oh,
and two twisted. Girl, we're the freaking
like
same,
shelf
man.
exposed
I don't
here.
even know
That's
need
so
to see.
funny.
I can tell by the sprayed edges what it is. Like, girl,
It's so pretty. Oh my God, like
they're
I
so
actually
pretty.
can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm just a big nerd. Just a
Hamilton,
nerd.
stop.
Oh my God, Hamilton. Year 12, my
Yep.
HSC, I was literally listening to the whole soundtrack while I studied, like
Yep.
non-stop. That was my
Yep.
theme song when I was doing my writing.
I watched the show in Melbourne and then I flew to Sydney and watched it again.
Oh my God. Did you go to Sydney Lyric
Oh,
Center?
can't
That's where I
remember.
went and saw it. And I went on the last day that it was showing
It
because
had
I
a
was so
deal
stressed.
going on. Like this was
Oh,
maybe a
really?
year and a half ago. It was like $30 or something. And I was like literally third
What?
row from like the front. Like I could see all the expressions. It was amazing.
Stop. I was so far back. And I literally had goosebumps the entire time. I brought my friend who didn't know anything about Hamilton. And I was
Same,
just
me
like,
too for Melbourne.
yeah. I would literally had goosebumps. She's like, what's going on? I'm like, oh my God, like I'm seeing this. I need to see it again actually because it
Yeah,
was
it's
so good.
amazing. It's so good. And I love like I was feeling so patriotic for America and I was like, oh, Alicia, calm down. Alicia, take a step back.
We just start singing the national anthem.
I know. I was like, no, Alicia, no.
Me knowing more about America's like founding fathers than like
Yeah.
Australia. I'm like, I
Bro,
don't know
what
anything.
founding fathers?
Yeah, like yeah.
Australia's founding fathers were not okay.
No, yeah, we don't talk about them.
Yeah, boo.
They get the thumbs down.
No, literally. Maybe like the
Yeah.
smaller towns, but even that, the history is just so messed up.
The history is so dark that I just yeah,
Mm,
it's very upsetting.
yeah.
But yeah.
Anyway, random segue, but
Yeah,
thank you so much for being here, and I can't wait to see all your future projects, and we're definitely
thank you so
making a
much.
book con happen.
Okay, we'll be there. We'll be there,
Awesome.
everyone. Alicia's gonna be my PA. Talk to her, please. Thank
Please. All right,
you so much.
I'll end the recording here.